Tonight on Evenings Lalate, we examine the complex of fourth stimulus and how Senate Democrats and House Democrats want to give you different fourth stimulus reoccurring stimulus checks. We'll examine the differences between the fourth stimulus multiple monthly stimulus checks from the Senate and the House, who pays more and who pays less, and what is the likelihood of the two different proposals and the big payouts across the board. Meantime, we'll examine how there's a mixture of good data, economic data, that's not helping the fourth stimulus package, and bad economic data. Next week, we see more of that as well. We'll examine how fourth stimulus, that monthly stimulus check, could be impacted by this as well. Meantime, shocking developing details on Sunday as vaccine troubles plague the United States next week, as a shortage of Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses could derail the president's purpose to reopen the economy. New York, California, and Florida showing massive shortages of the vaccine. As we go into a Monday morning, the pre-market data shows that Wall Street's relatively flat. Meantime, we'll examine a new video from the White House about your fourth stimulus package. And then, the surprising details. This Thursday, Lalate is reporting the president will forgive $50,000 of student loan debt potentially, as Elizabeth Warren and Leader Schumer go for the final push. Meantime, third stimulus checks could be landing this Wednesday for veterans. I have all the big breaking news on a huge evening of Evenings Lalate. Good evening, everybody. As we go into a big Sunday evening, exciting great news about your fourth stimulus check, your third stimulus check, and your $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. I'm so excited for you. Thank you for joining me on a big night of Evenings Lalate. I have a lot of great detail, and in this recording, we're going to go over fourth stimulus, that monthly stimulus check. We're going to examine the differences between the House proposal and the Senate proposal from the Democrats. Which one pays you more? Which one's more likely to get to the finish line? Then we'll examine the good economic data and the bad economic data from this last week and this coming week, and how that could impact your fourth stimulus monthly stimulus checks. Then I'll cut to the surprising details. This channel is reporting that this Thursday, the President of the United States may forgive $50,000 of student loan debt for all Americans. Incredible, great news. I'll have the detail and the new videos for that as well. And finally, third stimulus, a big update for my veterans. How are you? If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. It's a big day. And I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for a lot of fun we had on Saturday night with those throwback videos of sirloin. You really enjoyed it. 3 shows, 3 throwbacks. So I'll continue to bring throwbacks. I've seen your suggestions. If there's other shows you love to see brought back, drop in the comments right now. I'm in the live chat. Say hi, how are you? Also, like this video. Let's try to do 3,000 likes. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. As we go into the evening, incredible great news across the board. As the House and Senate Democrats both want to give you monthly stimulus checks. But for the first time ever, let's examine the differences between the two proposals. Let's get to it right now. What is the differences between the two proposals? First, House members want the monthly stimulus checks to continue 1 year after the pandemic. So their time frame for the stimulus checks is much longer into the future. They would pay stimulus checks if the pandemic ends in September of this year to September of next year, a monthly check across the board. The Senate wants to pay the monthly checks till December of this year, a shorter horizon. Next, who are the proponents between the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats? The House Democrats are about 100 of them, but they're mainly House progressive Democrats. The Senate Democrats is a mixture of both progressives and moderates and also Senate leaders. So the senators that are leading the effort are much more in the controlling microcosm of the Democratic Party. So they have a bigger say and a potential likelihood of getting it done. They're in the power elite of the Democratic caucus. Next, the amounts. House members have actually proposed an amount. They proposed $2,000 for the first month per individual, and then $1,000 every month thereafter, continuing until 1 year after the pandemic's over. The Senate Democrats don't give a monthly amount, but word on the street is they want to pay $1,400 to $2,000 per month, more than the House Democrats. Let's go over the analysis now on how much this would likely be. If you're an individual and they paid $2,000 a month and they got this bill done in July, that would give you 6 months. Under the Senate proposal to December, so 6 months from July to December, if the Democrats in the Senate chose $2,000 a month, that would pay you $12,000 an individual between July and December. If you are a individual and you see the senators come out with $1,400 a month, that would pay you $8,400 over 6 months. It's important to understand that the senators and the Democrats have a lot to deal with, and a lot is at stake. People have been asking me when. We just finished with third stimulus, and over the next few days, there's a lot of things happening. First, rent, utilities, food, and internet is hitting now in April. EIDL is hitting, business grants are hitting, and it'll continue into May. So you see the importance of getting as much moolah as you can from this channel now between getting this fourth stimulus check in your pocket. It would likely not get into your pocket until potentially July if the bill got done in June. Before we continue on the details of that fourth stimulus, let me tell you some items that are breaking right now. First, the EIDL grant is finally paying out. Millions of viewers are suddenly, thousands of viewers are now reporting that they're getting the remainder of the $10,000 EIDL grant invitation. I can exclusively report only on this channel that the manner in which they're sending the invites is not particularly organized. First, we have thought that they're going in chronological order, low income versus non-low income. They're not. I have heard that some individuals have gotten invites who applied for the EIDL grant in July and August of last year before people who applied in April. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's out of order once again. Second, they are still going along the lines of the low income group first, but low-income community first, but my sources say they are opening it up for everyone who applied in 2020. Next, the rent, utilities, food is available now at your city, state, and county. Get that money right now. And if you're a property owner and need mortgage assistance, private or publicly held, Fannie or Freddie Mae, or like a Chase, go get that money right now. Also money for utilities. If you need that help, the volunteers can help you across the board. That's now. So let's go back to fourth stimulus and where the fourth stimulus is being impacted. The fourth stimulus saw a series of confusing and contradictory economic data last week. Let me go over the broad stroke of what's happening, and then I'll go over the detail. What's at issue is that stimulus checks need to be rolled out if there's bad economic data. Last week, we saw bad economic data in 3 places. First, on Thursday, we saw new unemployment, UUI claims go up, get worse than Wall Street expected. We saw continuing unemployment claims stay very high at close to over 3 million new unemployment claims. And third, we saw small businesses shut down at a record number we have not seen in a while. With those data, let's go over the items one at a time. First, the number of new unemployment claims on Thursday were horrible. Wall Street had expected that looking at the prior week of 728,000 new unemployment claims, and we were going to improve to 694. We didn't. We got worse. We got worse to 744, showing that we gained 50,000 new unemployment claims from the week before, showing that Wall Street is not good at estimating that number. The other bad economic number, bad economic number last week, was the number of continuing unemployment claims. These are people unemployed from the week before. We are still carrying 3.73 million Americans unemployed, and those include long-term unemployed people. The number only improved slightly from the week before at 16,000, down from the week before. The third bad economic number that supports giving fourth stimulus monthly stimulus checks was the small business closure number released on Friday, detailed on this channel. In the month of February, 22% of all small and medium-sized businesses in the United States closed their door forever. This was the worst number since May, when 23% of small businesses and medium-sized businesses in this country closed across the board. The economic data across the board is inconsistent, where California and New York showing surges in unemployment and Ohio and Alabama showing improvement. So that's the bad economic numbers that came in last week that supports giving your fourth stimulus. Well, what was the good data that doesn't support giving stimulus? The number of jobs increased in the economy substantially in the month of March. The PPI number came in very strong. And finally, the CPI, which is coming out next week, is pending to be very strong. These good economic numbers are the ones that you want to be concerned about, because you don't want the bill in the Senate after the economy rebounds. You don't want to get a worried factor at issue if the economy rebounds, because ultimately senators may not give you stimulus if the economy's rebounded. Here's the big issue. There's three factors that determine when you're going to get stimulus and how you're going to get stimulus. One, speed. Two, worry about the economic recovery occurring before they sign the bill into law. And third, worry that the jobs are restored before they sign the stimulus bill into law. Here's what you need to know. The first good number that came in last week, jobs. In the month of March, this economy generated 1 million jobs. There's 8 million missing. That means 8 months we would be fully restored. That's fine, because that would be December. This bill's going to get to the Senate in June or July. Okay, so then why is there a concern about that jobs numbers? Because last Friday, analysts on Wall Street said that we could restore 2 million jobs in the month of April, where we are now. And if there's 8 million missing, 2 into 8 is 4 months. That's this summer. You don't want those jobs to be restored before they sign this bill or vote this bill during an amendment, because ultimately they may get cold feet if the jobs are restored. So that's the first good number that came last week that would work against stimulus. The second good number that came last week was the PPI. And the PPI is a number that concerns the strength of the economy. That PPI number came in and showed its highest growth since no less than 10 years ago. The PPI number was absolutely through the roof. Finally, this coming week, the CPI number is expected to be good as well. So you don't want that CPI number and that PPI number back-to-back continue to be improving. On Saturday, a series of analysts said that this economy is on major rebound. So you don't want to worry that this major rebound is occurring across the board. Meantime, a real surprising new data that came out today that shows vaccine trouble. Now, this supports the notion of giving stimulus. Why? A new report today showed that the White House is in big trouble of delivering the vaccine to states this coming week. Last week, the number of Johnson & Johnson doses that the White House was able to deliver to states was 4.9 million. This week, they will only be able to deliver 700,000. The cause, that Baltimore plant that has been the big topic of discussion at the White House briefings. The vaccine trouble state by state is detailed in this current graphic from Lalate. New York will be able to deliver 89% less vaccines of Johnson & Johnson this week. California will be able to deliver 89% less doses of the vaccine, of all vaccines this week, and Florida 89% less across the board. What is the Wall Street looking at going into Monday? The pre-market is currently trading the following. The Dow futures is up 251, relatively flat, less than 1%, and the NASDAQ futures are up about 1%. So there you go. Let's go back to the numbers that are at issue for these monthly stimulus checks. These monthly stimulus checks are incredibly rich. Let's see how delicious this stimulus is. If they got this bill to the Senate in July, well, 6 months, there you go, 6 checks. There you go. If the monthly check is $1,400, then you're getting $8,400. If the monthly check is $2,000, then you are getting $8,400. It's of importance that you get that bill to the Senate as soon as possible, because this is really a speed issue. The speed issue is that every month that passes, you could miss a stimulus check. But more importantly, you don't want economic rebound to occur before the stimulus lands in the Senate. Finally, you want to ensure that that stimulus is done as quickly as possible. How will they do this? They'll do it as a two-step process, and that I'll detail in a second. But what's important to understand is that everyone who watches this channel qualifies for this monthly stimulus check. What is the eligibility? Well, the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats agree upon this. The eligibility is you. You get that monthly stimulus check. If you're on SSI or SSDI, Social Security or health benefits, you would get this monthly stimulus check. If you make less than $75,000 single individual, you would get this monthly stimulus check. If you are a married couple, $150,000 or less joint income, you would get this stimulus check. The family household would be 4. You would get this stimulus check if there's 4 people in the household. Children, adult dependents, everyone would get this. So if we're looking at a single individual getting $2,000 a month, then 4 individuals would get $8,000 a month. What's important to understand is that there's 2 paths to getting this done, but the only path is by recon. What's important to understand is that you're going to see over the next days, I predict about 10 more days of this, the president talk about bipartisan pushing to get the 4th stimulus package done. This is what you need to know. The president's bill only has 3 parts, none of which involves your stimulus checks. The first part is infrastructure. The second part is climate. And the third part is raising taxes. The Republicans have already said that when it comes to climate, we're not doing it. No brainer. No, it's dead upon arrival. We're not doing climate. So the president, while he continues to talk about bipartisan relief, he's never going to get it because the Republicans have drawn their line in the stand. They're not doing climate. So at some point in the next 7 days approximately, the president's going to realize it's time to do reconciliation. Now, what you need to understand is that you need to push Purple Power and share this video on social media. Tag your elected official. Call them up, because ultimately reconciliation is the only way to get this stimulus check done. How does this work? The Senate Democrats want to put the stimulus check in the bill. When it comes into the Senate, they're going to amend the bill to put it in there. The House Democrats want to put it in when they get the bill. They want to amend it to put it in there as well. The president will not override them. The president will not veto them. The president will go along so long as he has his infrastructure, climate, and taxes, which he will. So what you need to do is call up these cabinet members, these labor, commerce, energy cabinet members who you've seen on this channel over the last 3 days, and say, you know what? Let's do this. Let's get it by reconciliation. Let's not dawdle. Let's do it. Get that bill to a vote and finality in June. First. Number 2, I like your messaging. The Republicans have said they're not doing climate, so just let's drag it out. Number 3, this is what's important to remember. Congress takes vacation starting in July. If you were with me last summer, boy, they just take vacation after vacation from July to September. They get nothing done, really, between July and September. You want this bill done by June, far before they're gone, and you want the stimulus checks out the door. Ultimately, these cabinet members aren't going to give you the stimulus checks. It's the senators and the House members who are going to give you the stimulus checks. It's a 2-step process. It starts the following. First, the bill goes into the House and asks whether they want to do a reconciliation. Yes. Then to the Senate. Yes. Then to the president. Done. They agree that they're going to do reconciliation. No content, no substance, just procedural determination. That's the tow truck. The tow truck has now passed over the finish line, a determination to do a reconciliation. Then step 2 is the tow hitch. Going back to the House is the provisions. The subcommittees go over the provisions. Maybe that's when the House Democrats will put the multiple stimulus checks in there. They don't have to, but they could, and that would really save a lot of time. Then called for a vote, passes to the Senate. Then, during a 2-day event called the Vote-A-Rama, the Senate Democrats would amend the bill and put in those monthly stimulus checks, if they were not already put in there by the Democrats from the Senate, from the House. And during that two-day event called the Vote-A-Rama, those 21 of 50 Democratic senators will put the amendment in there of a monthly stimulus check. A monthly stimulus check to continue from now to December on the same income thresholds that you have seen before. Those senators would do the bill to go to December stimulus checks. They include moderate and progressive Democrats. They're Democrats in control of the Senate. The amount, while unknown, is likely to be $1,400 to $2,000, and that would pay you an enormous sum of money. And away we would go. The bill would reach a finality, and the president would sign it into law. And we would be done. Meantime, what's happening with third stimulus this coming week? If you are a veteran and you have not received your stimulus check, it's likely to land by direct deposit on Wednesday, April 14th. I have a few veterans who got alerts from their banks that there's a pending deposit for this coming Wednesday, even Comerica by Direct Express. So if you're a veteran who has not received your stimulus check so far, even though I've had thousands who have, if you have not, your direct deposit, watch for it this Wednesday. Remember, 1, the IRS tool is updating for some veterans and showing it pending. 2, it may still show nothing pending and yet you still get it. 3, watch the mail checks. 4, for everyone else waiting for a mail check, they're late. They are late. It's also important to understand that if you have a date for your mail check and it hasn't come on time, give it some time. I want you to stay patient and calm because those mail checks are late. This graphic, I think, needs to be updated. March 26th, they're about 14 days late now. The April 2nd to 5th, they're about 10 days late. And the April 9th checks, they're heading into 10 days late. Don't worry, because the stimulus is coming. Meantime, coming up in this recording is the exciting big news about $50,000 of student loan debt, and I'll have more about the president getting that fourth stimulus to the battleground. I'll have a new video from the White House, but stay tuned. I'll have more after this commercial break about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA, and big night. 2 more shows coming up tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. One at 10 o'clock, another at 10:30. If you join me for the 10 o'clock show, stay to the very end, and the video will automatically advance you to the 10:30 show. You don't have to do anything. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. And then join me tomorrow morning on Early Mornings LA. Meantime, I'm in the live chat, so say hi. Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. Thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're approaching our birthday month, and we're approaching our 1-year anniversary. At the end of this month, we're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers, so give a subscribe. Tell your friends, your neighbors, everyone to subscribe. Share these videos. Tag your elected officials. Call them up on the phone. Share this video on social media. Hashtag MSC. Hashtag Purple Power. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes. If you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment. Thank you for all the people who newly became members in the last 24 hours. Well, away we go. Fourth stimulus, monthly stimulus checks. You want this bill in the Senate as soon as possible. You want it out the door. And this channel is focusing on the economic data that is pushing and pulling, tugging and pushing back on stimulus. You want the bill in the Senate sooner rather than later, because while currently you see a mixture of bad economic news, which supports stimulus, and good economic news, which works against stimulus, because no one wants to give stimulus if the economy's too good, then you don't want to worry that in 4 or 5 months from now, all you're going to hear is good economic news. You want to get the bill out the door as soon as possible. But this Thursday, this channel is predicting that the President of the United States will announce a forgiveness of student loan debt. Yes. This channel is predicting that this Thursday will be an announcement by the President of the United States that $50,000 of student loan debt will be forgiven for all Americans. What's at issue? 2 weeks ago, this coming Friday, the president set a deadline for his education secretary. That deadline was for the secretary to prepare a deal memo to state whether the president has the legal authority to forgive student loan debt by executive order. What's going on here? Well, if you join me back in October of last year, I first heard this and first detailed this. At the time, the president had won the election. And Leader Schumer, then Minority Schumer, said on day one, when the president is sworn into office on day one, I want him to forgive $50,000 of student loan debt. The press asked the president what he thought about it, and initially didn't respond. Then 2 days later, the press asked the president on a Tuesday again, and then finally on Thursday, the president said, no, I'm not doing that. Thank you so much. Maybe if you gave me a bill for $10,000 from the Congress, I'll do, but I'm not doing $50,000 for executive order. Leader Schumer and Elizabeth Warren then met with the president 2-3 times in January, February, and started to release a series of videos urging the president to forgive student loan debt. That urging continued to ramp up as Elizabeth Warren was among many that produced videos. And those videos said, you have the legal authority to forgive student loan debt. Let's listen into one of the most important videos on the subject that got the movement that can ultimately get the forgiveness of debt this week. Let's listen in and the implications at issue.
Means there are lots of people who aren't moving out from their parents' homes. Lots of people who aren't buying their own homes. And one of the other things the data shows, lots of people who are not starting their own businesses. And all of those things hold back our economy. And I make that point because I'm sure there are lots of folks who are on this call tonight who don't have student loan debt. But here's the deal. Even if you don't have student loan debt, you will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled, because it will help our economy. This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress. The authority is already there in law for the president and his team, the administration, the Secretary of Education, to cancel out this student loan debt. And President Obama used it to cancel some student loan debt. President Trump used it to cancel some student loan debt. I want to see President Biden use it. If he would cancel.
What's at issue is her detailing there is very, very important. The president says that by this Friday, his education secretary will determine whether the president has a legal authority to forgive student loan debt. Warren there says he does because Obama and Trump both did it. If she's right, that determination will come back with a yes statement this week, and the president's going to forgive the student loan debt. Let's listen more to the implications at issue.
$50,000 in student loan debt. It would make an enormous difference in the lives of tens of millions of Americans.
And she's right. Yesterday, in one of the live chats, viewers restated her comments, which were, one, that when you have student loan debt, you can't buy a car, you can't buy a house, you can't start a business. And that has been reaffirmed by viewers who said much the same. After the president heard from Warren and Schumer in January and February, he said, no, I'm not doing it. Finally, he gave in. Finally, he gave in about 3 weeks ago and said, finally, I will allow my education secretary to make a determination about the subject matter. The at issue here is that because of the third stimulus package, the forgiveness of student loan debt this week would not be a taxable event. You will not have to pay any taxes if the president forgives your student loan debt this week. Let's listen into another video by Warren and Schumer that explains the success of the third stimulus package law, which made forgiveness of debt not taxable.
To make that kind of difference, it would be historic.
It will. And the three of us have been trying to persuade the president to do this, because he can do it, as was said, with a signing of a pen. We don't need legislation. Boom. And your debt is forgiven, and you breathe easy. But one of the arguments some of the people around him are saying is, how could we do this? They still have to pay taxes on it. No more.
Not anymore.
Can't make that argument. So that's a help within, as we try to push the White House to go further, to do what we think they should do. This helps us.
Yeah, and not only do they not have to pay taxes, but if we get the relief we're looking for, a young person can now say, you know what, I get to buy my first home, or get to start a family, or...
And there you go. And since then, Schumer and Warren have released yet another video. Over the weekend, Schumer and Warren released another video in which they do a Zoom chat with students about forgiving the student loan debt. Let's listen briefly about Warren, what Warren said then.
I think what you're showing, Taneva, and I think you made this point too, Derek, it's the generational effect that if you had your college diploma but no debt, then you'd be in a better position for your daughter. Mm-hmm. And to be able to strengthen her and lift her up as she goes forward, both as a child and as she gets ready for school.
Meantime, over the weekend, the president released a series of videos from his team and from himself talking about forced stimulus. The president's message is very loud and clear that we need to get forced stimulus done. And what in this video, you can see briefly about the talking of forced stimulus, but it's mainly about infrastructure. It's the climate that's going to cause the bill to go to reconciliation.
In a grid for the 21st century. I'm Pete Buttigieg, I'm Secretary of Transportation.
My name's Jennifer Granholm, and I am the Secretary of the Department of...
The jobs plan is an incredible plan. There's several great parts of it. The $400 billion investment in the CARES economy, the investments all across the board in the American worker, doubling apprentice programs. I think that's something that's going to be really important as well for building back better, but also strengthening our economy and growing the middle class.
All across the country, we're going to have better roads, better bridges, and better jobs. We don't just need roads, bridges, ports, airports. We also need great broadband infrastructure in a grid for the 21st century.
If you support the forced stimulus package and what you hear in this recording, then reach out to these cabinet members, whether it is the HUD leader, or whether it's Marty Walsh, who you just heard, or your head of commerce, or it is your transportation cabinet member, or it's your energy cabinet member. Reach out to their staffers and say, you know what? I like your videos. I like what you're saying. Let's do this. Let's not wait. We can't go any longer. Do it by reconciliation. Get it done, and get it done now, because June and July is around the corner. We can't hold this off to the fall. And also, let's get those multiple stimulus checks. Meantime, the president had this to say about his chats this coming week with Republicans.
Respecting all the hearings we held on that. And also, there makes major investments in the fight against climate change. And there's issues that are personal to millions of Americans in the area of VAWA, because I get that.
And there you go. Ultimately, it's climate that will give you stimulus check. It's very weird to even say this, but let me explain. Climate is your e-ticket to getting multiple stimulus checks. Why is climate going to get you multiple stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks? Because climate is the part of the bill that the Republicans say they're not going to agree anything on the bill if it has climate in there. And with that, that's what's going to push the bill to reconciliation. You want reconciliation, whether it's a House Democrat or a Senate Democrat who's going to give you a monthly stimulus check. They're all giving you a monthly stimulus checks. The income qualification, the eligibility is the same. You want to get it done, and you want to get it done quickly. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. go to the front of this channel and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and become part of this family. Also like this video. Let's see if we can do 2,000 to 3,000 likes. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Boy, what a week it has been. Coming up next is a doubleheader of shows starting at 10 o'clock and to 10:30. Stay with the first one. It takes you right to the second one automatically. You're transported like you're on a special intergalactic spaceship. Have a great evening. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on pushing. And I'll see you in the live chat at 10 o'clock on Evenings LA.